Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I title this message on forcing children to grow up too fast. Some of you all have read the scriptures where it talks about training up a child in the way that he or she should go, and when they are older, they will not depart. Okay? They will not depart from the teaching. They will not do the types of things that will cause a bunch of havoc. At least that's what we hope, right? Because we are training them up in the knowledge of the Lord. But what happens is that sometimes as adults we go through much, and children watch us and they see us and they say, these adults just don't have it together. And they're either going to learn from our bad examples not to do certain things, or they're just going to end up repeating more of the same. And oftentimes, I know those individuals that I have observed, as well as their children, as well as their children's children, they end up just doing the same stuff. Okay? Now, forcing a child to grow up fast. How are we doing this? Well, I can tell you that if a child doesn't feel safe in an atmosphere, if they don't feel like they are being nurtured, being taken care of, then yes, you are forcing them to grow up too fast. It's not what you're saying. It's what you are doing or not doing for them. So if I know that I cannot count on my mother to give me a hot meal, then I've got to learn how to get in that kitchen and cook it myself. If I know that my parents are not getting along, I have to come up with ways to be able to survive in whatever situation they have made for me. That situation may include some arguing, some fussing, some fighting. Okay, I cannot stay in here, or some tension in the air. So that's why child ends up becoming close to grandmother, or child ends up becoming buddy with the neighbor, or child ends up getting a boyfriend prematurely or girlfriend because, well, daddy doesn't act like he cares about mom, so he doesn't want to be bothered. Let me just find somebody who does care about me. Okay. You see, we don't think about those little things as parents, how we're forcing children to grow up too fast. All we think about is, this is what I need to do for them. This is where they need to go. And don't bother me when I'm trying to get a little relaxation time. Okay. So if needs are not being met as a child, I'm going to have to do something about those needs. Whatever they might be. I need some attention. I'm going to get it from somewhere, somehow, from someone. I don't care what you tell me in terms of, oh, well, if you do this, I'm going to take this from you. And that attention means more to me than any punishment that you're going to put upon me. I know that when I look back on my teen years and I started sniffing myself, as the adults back then were saying, I realized that there were some things that I was not getting on the home front. We're not talking about material stuff. Everybody likes to focus on that sort of stuff when they are out there doing whatever, not, necessarily thinking about the things of God. It's always about the material. I'm giving you this. I'm providing for you. You should be grateful. You should be happy. But the truth of the matter is that you can give children a whole bunch of stuff. But if you're not giving them quality attention, quality, healthy affection, okay? If you are not taking up time with them to ask them meaningful questions about what they like and what they don't like, instead of driving them to perform, bring your grades up, then they are going to grow up, as far as you're concerned, too fast, or sniff themselves, or think they're better, or sass you, or any number of things that you can't stand about children. Okay. And they're still children. That's the thing that sometimes we lose sight of when they're saying this and doing that. They're still children. They still don't have all their faculties together. There's still some nutty stuff going on inside their minds. And so part of training up a child is making sure that you put some of the nut stuff in check. But at the same time, you're also giving them the kind of relationship that is feeding them mentally, physically, and spiritually. Spiritually is something that a lot of children do not have. They don't have any type of concept as to who God is, Jesus, Holy Ghost. I know this for a fact because my children tell me about their friends. I know this for a fact because many years ago, I used to work with children and I could see what kind of parents they were being raised by the way they were behaving. I remember one boy, I knew his dad was nowhere in the picture because this boy used to dress in girls' clothes. He used to take his fingers and pop them. And this was back in 1991. Okay. So he was already being well trained in girly types of things. Okay. And then you get some dads that get mad at the mothers talking about, you're not raising him right. You're not doing this and that. Well, excuse me, but where are you? Where are you? Where is the male influence? So what is he going to do but follow suit with females if females are the ones that's nurturing him, if females are the ones that are sitting down and talking to him? Now, this doesn't affect all boys, but it does affect a lot of them. Some boys figure out, look, I definitely don't want to act like a girl. I definitely don't want to be doing the types of feminine things that I see my sisters and aunts and everybody else is doing. So I'm going to find me some boys to hang out with. And that's just what they do. And hats off to them. They want to become their own men. But some, they get complacent. They are fine with the way things are. They don't consider anything weird or strange about their personality. Everybody's supposed to accept them and all this other stuff. I'm sorry, but I am not the one about embracing craziness, dysfunctional, wild, types of behavior that parents have put upon children. Absolutely not. Because see, children didn't ask to be here, and children were born into situations that parents could have dealt with but chose not to. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to accept things that I know that the Bible says are not right, okay, or not correct, or not the healthiest way of living. So I know there are those that would say, embrace me because I'm this way and that one. And that's fine. Just like they can say, I cannot accept Christianity and all of the stuff that goes on with Christians. I can also say, I'm not going to accept certain things that go on with some of these individuals and call it healthy. Okay. I'm just not. And this is why some parents end up losing ground with their children, because they don't want to call something right or wrong. Some of them don't even want to take on an authority status with their child. Nope, we're just going to all be buddy buddies. I'm going to hang out with her. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. God doesn't want us to be those types of parents. You can be friendly with a child, but you don't have to be that type of person that just says, hey, party on, rock on, let's have a great time and all that. And then when your child ends up disrespecting you, when your child ends up going places that they have no business going, and doing any number of things, then you want to cry. Why? I'm just acting like you, Daddy. I'm just acting like you, Mom. I mean, hey, some of them will even say, I don't even call my mom or my dad by mom or dad. And it's like, well, what do you call them by? Oh, I call them by their first name. Huh? Oh, yeah, because we have that kind of relationship. And I remember some people telling me this sort of thing. And can I tell you, fast forward years later, and they're not even getting along with these parents. Dare we call them parents? They weren't parents back when we were all in school, and they definitely weren't grandparents once their children had children. It became this thing of, I'm still young, I'm still this, I'm that. They don't want to be bothered. But we were all buddies back in the day. You see, just because something is not affecting a situation negatively right now doesn't mean that in the long term it's not. Okay. I also noticed too that parents can force their children to grow up real fast when they're just not in their lives. I know from personal experience, after the divorce, wasn't involved with the children as much as I would have liked. Okay. And so therefore the children, there were areas of their lives that I noticed that they were speeding up quite fast on, and I started saying to myself, oh my goodness, I can actually see, where divorce is just not a good idea, with some children. But then I could also see where it was a good idea, so it's just like, wow, how you could see both good and bad in a situation. And then at the same time, pray that the child or children grow up to be healthy, functional, productive citizens. It's definitely eye-opening to see when your children are growing up quickly, right before your eyes, and you don't have anything to do with it other than the fact that, you made some decisions that you thought were going to be beneficial for all. And they did. They did. Those decisions did end up being beneficial. But at the same time, though, there were some things that the children experienced that if they had been with us together, that they would have never had to go through. But that's when you have to weigh the pros and the cons. And that's when you have to say, okay, well, is it really in the best interest of the children for two parents to stay together arguing and, not getting along? Or is it in the best interest of the children for the two of them to be separated and then somehow teach the children, train the children through this whole process? That what is toxic, and what is healthy, and what is good and bad is bad, and all that. Okay. It's a lot. It's a lot when you are a parent. It's a lot when you are the child of ineffective, demanding, controlling, dysfunctional parents. And this sort of thing doesn't go away either. Oh, well, now that I'm an adult, I guess I'm still not going to have to deal with this stuff, that, they're putting upon me. I mean, I could always walk away. Well, you can always walk away. And if it is really affecting you in a negative way, and you feel like you are being forced or pushed into something you really don't want to be in, then definitely, go low contact or no contact. You don't want to end up prematurely dying either. A lot of people end up dying before parents. We're always talking about, oh, parents are going to die before us. But a lot of times it happens where the children end up, because of their fast life, being forced to have to grow up so quickly, they end up going to their graves quicker too, before their parents. Okay. So when you see that somebody in the family is just constantly, involved with this, that, and the other, they're living that life, they're about that life and all that, you go back into their childhood and you find out that mom had them standing in front of the stove at 6 and 7, 8 years old. You find out that they had to help their brothers and sisters and so forth, because parent was working, or parents. You find out that they were exposed to some violence, some drugs, some alcohol, a lot of things. People were drunk, people were acting wild, they were fighting. So they had to learn how to survive in those situations. And so then they end up having children of their own and letting the children do the same things, even though they may not really be in that type of atmosphere where they have to be forced to grow up so quickly, but yet they'll put that type of pressure on the children anyway. Well, this is what I had to do growing up, and well, just pay attention to why you had to do what you had to do. If your child is not in that same type of setting, why are you putting so much pressure on him or her to get out your house by 18? Okay. Or to, get A, B, and C accomplished, before I get home. What, all of this pressure for what? For what? If that is not the type of atmosphere that's going on in your household where, somebody is fighting, somebody's on drugs, somebody, that can't keep a job and all that, then the children don't have to be pushed beyond their limits. They don't. You got some individuals that, because their parents were very pushy about success and grades and, being top notch and all of that. It was a constant competition in the household. So then they put these things upon the children. And then they want God to co-sign off on everything. Oh, well, I'm a good parent. Are you sure about that? Meanwhile, the child is complaining to his or her friends, or maybe to relatives, that dad is too pushy about this thing or that thing, or mom is just, freaking out over just stupid stuff. What is wrong with them? And then, that adult that might know that parent quite well will say, well, this is why he or she is like this. It gives you some solace when you find out that a parent is is behaving these ways because of their past. But at the same time, though, you still got to live with that. You still got to live with that parent, if you're in that setting. Now, if you're not in that setting, you can always, like I said, go low contact, no contact, because some people just refuse to change. You're going to do what I tell you to do. I am going to make you do this. And if you don't like it, then tough, because I'm not going to give you this, or I'm not going to give you that. What is all of this pressure and force and threatening behavior? What is all of this, and where is it coming from? And why does one feel the need to have to do all of these things? What on the inside is going on with you? The fact that you feel disrespected, the fact that you are not in control. What is going on? You see, sometimes the patterns just are generational. It's, well, mom was like this, dad was like that, but it doesn't make it right. That's what we have to, just program in our minds. Just because generations before us did something does not mean that it is right, does not mean that it is suitable for whatever setting you are currently in, or the child, and all of what he or she is going through. Does what you are doing to that child make it right? You see, so you have to start nitpicking a little bit, with yourself, not with the child, but with yourself. What is it that I'm saying? What is it that I'm doing? Yeah, maybe that's why she tends to rebel. The Bible says we're not to provoke children to wrath. So maybe the reason why you're getting a lot of pushback is because you are forcing this child to be someone or something that he or she is not called to be. You are putting a number of responsibilities on him or her that her mind is ill-equipped to handle. You see? Take a moment. Think. What did I say? What did I do? What kind of responsibilities am I putting? Okay, maybe I should take some of this back. Maybe you should allow a child to be a child. Like I said, if they are not living in that type of setting where we all got to step up to the plate because daddy's gone, because mama's gone, then therefore, what is the push? What is this hurry up and get these things done, or else? Okay. Another thing that I thought about is that when God is showing you things about your parenting, he's doing it out of love, out of kindness. He is not showing you these things because you are a bad person, because you got it all wrong. He wants you to change. Part of being a new creature is also changing some of the things that you do under the titles that you have. So if you're a parent, he's going to show you things related to parenting. If you are a child, he's going to show you things related to children and how they must respect parents and, do whatever it is that God has called you to do. Now, some parents, unfortunately, do things that don't earn children's respect. Okay? They do things that push away sons and daughters. And that is time that they need with the Lord to show them what is happening and how they could have built up quality relationships. You see, the matriarchs need time to themselves. As much as they don't want time to themselves, they need it. Patriarchs do too. People want folks to celebrate all the time. Celebrate the fact that I'm, older. Celebrate the fact that we've been married this long. Celebrate. All of this celebrating. But the thing is that are you doing the types of things that deserve that type of honor? Okay. Are you having a quality relationship, picking up phones, visiting, blessing folks? Are you really doing that? Or is it always about what is in it for me? Okay. I'm talking to parents now. And children, do you feel like parents are doing this sort of thing to you? Putting pressure on you, forcing you to grow up too fast, forcing you to take on all these responsibilities that you're ill-equipped to handle. Maybe because you have your own children, maybe because you're in college, maybe because you've got, all sorts of stuff you're into. And if that's the case, then you turn those burdens over to the Lord. With all due respect, mother, fathers, grandparents, I cannot handle this right now. You verbalize how you feel. If they want to come at you with all sorts of stuff, then they can do that. They have every right to express their opinion, but you don't have to stick around and listen to everything. And you definitely don't need to be anybody's punching bag, dumping ground. I did an audio on that. You don't need to be that to anyone. Okay. So I thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Please do pray for yourself, pray for your parents, pray for, your children. Ask the Lord to give you spiritual insight. Also ask the Lord to work on you, because a lot of times the reason why we do what we do is because we are still works in progress. Okay. We still got much to do when it comes to parenting and so forth, grandparenting. And so I thank you so much, as always, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen. And to God be the glory.